how'd you get the feel for like the hunt part? The wind, was Roy teaching you that stuff?
No, that was just, rifle hunting, you don't really need to know that, but I was in the woods a lot, whether I was hunting or going with somebody. So I was learning, hunting is all about, well, not all about, there's a lot of different things that you got to read the country, you got to read the animal. The animal behavior is a big part of it, and learning their tendencies and then what you can get away with when they see you. And so I would, as I said, I would go out and take pictures a lot too. So I was out trying to get photos and then hunting all the time. So I just was naturally just learning more, all these reps, all this time in the mountains. So then when it came time to actually try to kill something, I had a big advantage because I had just been out there, the time spent, and it felt pretty natural, but I still had to learn about the wind, had to learn about when an arrow hits an animal and you're reading the blood trail, where that blood's from, the injury you've caused the animal, how to trail that thing, whether it's hoof marks in soft soil or rocks overturned, different things. Ferns would be kind of indicate the direction of travel. So you still had to look. A lot of woodsmanship goes into successful bow hunting. So I had to learn that, and that just takes time.
Were you going with anybody? Or were you primarily, like that first year where you got the bull, buck, and bear, was anyone going with you?
My brother went sometimes. I think when I killed that buck, he was there too. And then the bull, let me think. No, the bull I was by myself, bear by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the reason I'm kind of pausing here is, like I said, me being an amateur hunter and having been guided on hunts by experts, or sometimes even multiple. Sometimes I've gone out with both John Dudley and a guide with me at the same time. Yeah. So there's like two people that are experts,
right?
And the amount of information that they're feeding me, the amount of things that are going on during a hunt there's so much going on.
Yeah.
I mean, the reactions, the animals, the wind, the terrain. Yeah. Like all those things are going on. When I've hunted, I've had people, feeding me that information, and for you to be out there on your second season, pulling that off, that's freaking impressive, man. And I don't want, and the other reason why I'm kind of like diving into this is because I said, oh, how many arrows did you shoot? And shooting the arrows, yeah, you got to be able to shoot the arrows, but there's so much more to it that I didn't want to make it sound like, oh, hey, if I shoot a bunch of arrows and I can hit that target at freaking 60 yards, I'm going to be good to go.
I think hunting, it's like when you're driving somewhere, and if you're not driving, not really paying attention. You know what I mean? I feel like hunting can be like that too. If you're not making the calls, you can have people telling you, just like you can have somebody drive you down here. If somebody's if I had to repeat how I got to right here to the studio today, I took an Uber, so I don't know. But when you're hunting, when you're making the calls, that it might be a rough go, you might fail a lot, but you're also learning more than I think. You have some great mentors on the hunt, but I think it's hard. That's a hard situation to learn that firsthand experience also, because you're doing what they say.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So for me, it was hard, but it was a big advantage to learn that on my own, make those mistakes on my own, and it just, I think being by myself so much as a kid, I was fine being by myself. I was used to being alone my whole life, really. So just being out in the woods, that was an easy transition. Now I'm by myself, but I'm doing something. I'm not by myself, staring at the wall, eating Cheetos.
Yeah, that's again, just to reiterate, the amount that goes into pulling this off is ridiculously hard. This is a freaking challenging thing to do. So I just don't want to short sell it at all.
Yeah, there's still hunts now, even after all these years, where I'm like, I wonder, I'm like, how have I ever killed anything with an arrow? I mean, it feels impossible on some of these hunts because it's not just getting close.
Yeah.
I mean, you find the animal, that's okay. Well, now we've started something. Well, at least we got a target, right? But then so much has to go right. And then if you're trying to film, as you know, I think some of yours has been filmed, and then other guys are there. So it's like there's however much, 3 guys, that's 3 times the noise, 3 times the scent, 3 times the movement. It's tough. There's a lot of shit that can go sideways.
Yeah.
And it does. And so again, my point was sometimes I wonder myself, I'm like, I don't know how I've ever done this. It feels like it's just not going to happen.